With silver hitting $36 an ounce this week, could we see $40 soon? Thompson Coin and Stamp here, and let's talk about this beautiful shiny stuff, silver. You know, it's only the third time in history silver has hit $36 an ounce. I think the last time was in 2011, and it quickly rose to $50 an ounce. So do you think we'll be seeing that here any time soon? It's Sunday evening, and according to kitco.com, we're sitting at $35.85 an ounce. On a few of their deals like this, talking about silver is undervalued, and could it hit $40 this year, break out to $50 all-time high in 2026? It says, after multiple failed attempts, even as gold hit new all-time highs, silver has finally begun its long-awaited breakout. But why now? Have the prospects for silver changed dramatically, or is the gray metal's price rise reflecting something bigger? To unpack the recent silver rally, its near-term drivers and longer-term potential, Kitco News spoke to Peter Krauth, author of The Great Silver Bull and publisher of Silver Stock Investor. Krauth believes that rising silver prices indicate a shift in sentiment within the broader market. He says, and I quote, "I think it has a lot to do with the macro picture. The idea of inflation has really become embedded in consumers' minds. The core PCE, which the Fed's favored inflation measure, is currently at about 3.5%, and yet their target is 2%. So that's way above their target. And it's ticked up over the first quarter about 2.75% to 3.5% in a matter of a few months. That's core PCE. That measures actual inflation on consumption articles. And then we know it may be an outlier. The first quarter's GDP growth was down in the U.S. You combine those things and you've got a perfect setup for stagflation." He says, will we see a second quarter of negative growth? Not sure, he added. The first quarter may be a bit of an outlier, but it certainly is still concerning in terms of where the economy is going. So, prices are going up right now. Like I said, we're right around $36 according to Kitco. We're under 36 according to atmex.com. If you look over here, they're showing silver sitting at $36.22. So it's a little bit of a price difference according to who you look at. But are you still stacking silver? Or has this price, kind of slowed you down a little bit? Let's take a look at this beautiful Kit Kat bar there. That is one reason we really do enjoy coin roll hunting. It is a really cheap way to stack silver, so you're not paying, the $36. Because that is one thing you've got to realize, too, when you do buy silver, is you're not just paying that spot price. There are going to be premiums on it. So, be prepared for that. Let's just take a look at atmex.com here and some of their stuff. Let's say the American Silver Eagle, they're asking $41.71. A maple, you're looking at the same. Cougaram, $41.21. Let's just look at a random 1 ounce bar. They're wanting $41.11 for one just like this. Get that in my hand real good. I'm actually giving this one away if you join our Patreon account as a paid subscriber. Once we hit 10 paid subscribers, I'll be giving away that bar right there. This is my favorite bar ever. I love Dad. Yes, yes, yes. Still got this one in the plastic there from Pioneer Metals. 10 troy ounce. And that is one cool thing about silver. You can get little chunky bars like that. You can get big old bars, like that. Like the Sunshine Mint. Old Denver set there. Get some crazy toning on them. But yeah, let's take a look at another little article here. Talking about gold and silver. Like I said, it's only the third time in history that it's reached the $36 level. Oh, so I was wrong. It was in 2010. I misquoted that earlier, that we reached that level. And then it took 6 weeks for it to peak at $50 an ounce. And it says, interest in silver has been growing steadily for a month. Ever since gold hit a record high of $3,500 an ounce, pushing the gold-silver ratio to an 11-year high above 100. However, analysts have pointed out that silver has been undervalued compared to gold for several years. It says, looking back, it makes sense that gold has outperformed silver during times of economic uncertainty and geopolitical chaos, which has driven safe haven demand. Record central bank demand over the last 3 years have provided solid support for gold as a monetary metal. Silver, on the other hand, has been left behind for one simple reason: central banks don't buy silver. However, investors are finally beginning to see value in silver as industrial demand continues to drive significant supply deficits. Due to its industrial consumption, silver is actually a better inflation hedge than gold. The growing solar power sector is currently the biggest driver of silver demand. According to the Silver Institute, nearly 196 tons of silver is used in photovoltaic solar panels this year. And I probably did not say that correctly. So, yeah, some of those words on there are a little nuts. Cool old buffalo right there. And, speaking of gold, it talked about gold a little bit in that article. What about the Fort Knox stuff? Because even Congress is kind of getting in on it. According to this Kitco article, it says, forget Elon Musk and Doge. Now Congress is looking to audit America's gold in Fort Knox. The very public feud between U.S. President Donald Trump and the world's richest man Elon Musk is now raising questions about the future of the Department of Government Efficiency and has promised to examine America's gold holdings in Fort Knox. However, Congress does not appear to be giving up on the prospect of a potential audit. It says on Friday, 4 members of Congress introduced a bill to initiate the first comprehensive audit of America's gold reserves in decades. The proposed government audit comes as unsustainable government spending continues to erode confidence in the country's creditworthiness. So what do you think about Fort Knox? Do you think all the gold is there? Do you think we got rid of it? What do you think? I personally, I don't think the gold's there. But you never know, I'm not, anywhere near a professional. That's just my personal opinion. I think there's been some shenanigans along the way. I do love these maples. Sorry. But yeah, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you're still stacking silver with these prices, hitting $36 an ounce, do you think we will hit $40 an ounce here anytime soon? I really think we could do it by the end of the summer. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but I do see silver as being well undervalued. So, once it ever does catch up and, that gold to silver ratio kind of closes, I really do think, it's going to do a lot better. Right now, we're sitting at a 93, 96, roughly. This is over the last 3 days, according to AppMex. So, yeah, doing pretty good. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for our weekly coin, roll, hunt, and chat. Until then, Thompson Coin and Stamp is out.